Hi there. This video is going to cover some of the basics for how to compose and send a new email message using your Google Mail Teton Science Schools account. So if you're in Google Mail, which looks like this, you might be familiar with, there are two ways to get to the composition window where you write a new email. The first way is to click on this big red button that says Compose, and then you get your message composition window over here on the lower right-hand side of the screen. The other way to get that to pop up is to use a keyboard shortcut, and I believe the default in Google is type the letter C. So if you have Google, shortcuts enabled, type the letter C and you'll get this message. Now if you decide you actually want this to be a bit bigger, you feel like you don't have quite enough room here to compose your message, you can click this button in the corner and you can get a full screen version of the composition window. But I prefer it down here on the right hand side, so that's what I'm going to use for this message. So then you're going to need to send it to somebody. So in the To field here, if you just start typing somebody's address, you'll start getting options. Google Mail will start furiously looking through your contacts, through the TSS Global Directory, and through actually all of the mail you've ever received or sent in order to try and find a match. So if I want to send a message to Manny, you can see I just typed the first couple letters of his name, and already a few options show up from both the directory and people I've emailed in the past. So I find him this way. There's also, if you want to send a carbon copy or blind carbon copy to folks, you can do that from over here on the right-hand side. Google Mail is really good at not just searching through your contacts, but also through the directory, as I said. So if I want to say send a message to Shannon, excuse me, you can see that under the tetonscience.org heading down here, I can see that she's there in the global directory. What if you need to send a message to somebody who's not at TSS? Well, if you've ever traded emails with them before, then you probably have their address somewhere in an email that's sitting in your inbox or in your archive somewhere. For instance, I need to send an email to a sales rep named Bill. I don't actually remember his full email address, but I remember his name is Bill, so I'm just going to type that. And there he is. This is Bill's email address, and it's in here because I've sent messages to him in the past. One other option that you've got in here also is that you can send messages to groups, just like you do in Outlook. So this may change a little bit for what the groups are actually called. They're probably going to be pretty similar to what you're used to. But just for an example, let's say I want to send a message to the entire field education faculty. I'm going to type role-field-ed. And then you can see Field Ed Faculty is one of the options that comes up. So I can send it to the entire field education faculty, which is a group that includes all of them. Or if I want to send it to, say, all Journey students, you get the idea. So then I'm going to type my subject line. Nothing new there. And then compose my message. So I've composed my message, and then if I like it just like this, I can go ahead and click send down here, or I can hit Control and the Enter key, and that will also send my message. There are a couple of formatting options I can use if I want to tweak how this looks. So for instance, if I want the text of my message, I'm going to click on this little A down here in the corner. That's how you get your formatting options. And I think I'll actually pop this out and make it a little bit bigger and easier to see. So let's say I want to change the typeface here. I want it to be it look a little bit different. I want to use, say, Comic Sans. I can do that. Let's say I want it to be really huge. I can do that too. Let's say that I want to make it bold. I can do that. Control B, or I can click bold, italics, and underline down here. Control I, Control U to bold, underline, or italicize text. I can also change the color of the text. So down here, let's say I want to send Manny purple letters. I can do that. If I want to change the background as well, let's say I want to highlight it as yellow in the background, I can do that. So now I have purple formatting on top of purple type on top of a yellow background. I can do all that. And then you have other options you might expect, like aligning left, right, or center, or inserting lists, like numbered lists or bulleted lists. You can change tabs, you can add quotes. And if you've done something like use purple typeface and you want to just go back to the way it was before, this last button down here, the one that says TX, will remove your formatting. So I'm just going to hit that, and it goes back to the way it was before. So those are some of the formatting options. Other things that you can do with your message, we'll cover attachments and using Google Drive a little bit later. But if I want to put let's say a photo inside the message, by clicking on this photo icon, I have an option of uploading photos or choosing a photo from either my drive or from my computer in order to include in the message. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. uploading the photo, and then I have a couple of choices about this photo actually, that I can have it as an inline image or an attachment. I'm using it as an inline image right here, and I can resize it as well if I want to. So if I want to make it really big, show the Hoff in all his glory, or make it really small, I can do that as well. So those are a couple other options. And then one more option that you didn't have in Outlook, but you do in Google Mail is emoji. So click on the smiley face down here, and you can add a couple things like a smiley face. We're not going to use that, but we'll include a sheep as well. And you can go through the menu of all the different options for emoji here that you have down below. Oh, and the very last thing that you can do if you're interested is to insert hyperlinks. So if you would like to maybe link to a web page or to a Drive document or anything you can find on the internet, what you can do is highlight your text and then either click on, let's say I want to link to another secret toast recipe. I can highlight that text and then click on this link button down here. Also, the shortcut Control K will do that as well. And then I can insert a hyperlink. Let's say I want this to go to www.tetonscience.org. And I can also test it and make sure that link works. Looks like it does. And so I can send that as an option. And then if I select it later, I can go back and change it. So things are looking good. I'm pretty happy about my email. I have a signature down here. We have a signature creating program here at TSS that automatically adds a signature to everybody's email based on their position and contact information that we have on file. If there's something that you need to change in here or something's incorrect, let us know and we'll update it. And you can also update this on the fly too. So if you're sending a message to somebody and you really don't want them to know your phone number for whatever reason, you can just remove that if you decide that that's something you don't want to do. A couple other options before you send your message. If you want to spell check it before it goes out, if you've noticed there's a spelling mistake in my message here, I'll go over here to the bottom right hand corner where it says more options, and then one of the options I can choose here is check spelling, and it shows off everything that shows up as a spelling error in here as yellow highlights. So toast recipe, I'll right click that. Let's see. And then I can change it and it'll update it for me. So that's another option that you can use if you want to check your spelling before you send out your message. And then finally, when it's ready to go out, you click on this blue send button, and that's all you need to do to get it to go. You can also, if you can see down here, you can use Control Enter, and that will also send your message, and you're all set to go. Now, there are a couple of changes or adjustments that you might need to make if you're switching from using Microsoft Outlook. And I'd say the biggest one is that you don't have quite as many formatting options in Google Mail that you would in Microsoft Outlook. So if you've used Microsoft Outlook before, you know that you can make your typeface any typeface that you have installed on your computer, which is usually somewhere between 1 and 200 different typefaces. Here in Google, you only get about 12. Another thing about another formatting change in Outlook, you're used to being able to send a message as 8-point font or 27-point font or 122-point font. But in Google Mail, you just get 4 options here: small, normal, large, and huge. And that's just generally the theme with sending messages with Google Mail. If you have a message you want to send that has complicated formatting requirements, then your best bet is to create that document using something like Google Docs or Microsoft Publisher or another application that allows more rich text formatting, and then send that document as an attachment to your message, or send the image as the main body of your message. If you want to send a table to somebody, Google Mail isn't going to do that natively. You can't insert tables right into a message, but you can send a Google spreadsheet or a Microsoft Excel document as an attachment if you really need to include a table for some reason. So I'd say that's just the one big takeaway that's significantly or even modestly different from using Microsoft Outlook, is that you don't have quite the same formatting options and you don't have as many of them. As usual, if you've got questions, you can contact us at Teton Science or helpdesk at tetonscience.org. But otherwise, happy composing and happy Gmailing.